Will you strongly and publicly support the promotion of traditional family values, and how will you go about it?
I'll live that life. Happily married. What's kind of funny is my wife and I have been married 6 years, and wanted a family, and it just didn't happen. So again, we went through the whole process that, well, maybe it's not meant to be. We'll deal with what we get. Well, we announced on November 7th our candidacy. My wife found out she was pregnant 2 weeks later. So, as it always happens, it is. But what we'll do is we'll live how you're supposed to live. You're not going to find out, some of these stories and these scandals. I am what I am. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you what I think. You're not going to be able to say, aha, here's a tape of him doing this when he said this. And again, we're going to raise our child to do the right thing, to respect their elder. I mean, all that corny stuff that people don't believe in anymore. My niece is the same thing. Make sure you call this person Mister, and just basically getting back to that corny 50s way that everybody, that a lot of people mock us for. But I'm going to walk the walk and talk the talk.
On the previous question, President Bush proposed a marriage amendment to the Constitution. Is that a conservative principle? If so, why? If not, why not?
I believe it was a political issue when he did it. I would be for it, but I think again it was done in a political sense where let's just again let's do it because it's the right thing to do as conservatives. I would vote for it. I would say it's a conservative. I would say it's a conservative.
Thank you.
That concludes the basic questions. There are a couple of questions regarding your 80-question questionnaire, the vetting questionnaire. We have a list in front of us of the questions that you either answered no to or didn't answer.
Okay.
I guess we're going to...
I think I didn't answer, so I don't think I answered no to any. I think I left some blank because at the time that I was doing it, I may not have understood it or wanted to be able to clarify rather than just say yes and, again, make it look like, it's easy to answer yes to all the questions and go, but I wanted to be able to be honest and explain.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here.
Absolutely, and that's why we're gonna bring some up. Alice, if you want to. We were looking at 24.
Okay. Do you commit or oppose to vote against any proposed legislation that allows or grants unconstitutional government authority just because there were other portions of that legislation that were good?
I didn't answer that at the point, but then when I went back over the questionnaire after and I really read it, I think I misunderstood the question in the beginning. I think I was thinking at the time something that was already in place. But we're talking about it before we actually vote on it. So we need to split, we need to split out the bad and leave the good in. This is one of the problems that, again, another one of these radical things that we've talked about, is make the bills stand on their own. A lot of times we see in these bills that we'll put in, something way on this side and something way on that side, or we'll tie funding for troops in for something else. So if we don't believe in this, and we vote against the bill, then the first claim by the other side, well, you don't support the troops. I mean, we see it all the time. So what I've said is, let's make simple bills. A friend of mine was a state senator out of Connecticut, and when we got into the race, and we started discussing a lot of the bills, and he would say, listen, I wanted to put a traffic light on Main Street in Elm, and I'd give the people the thing, and it would come back 50 pages. And we get caught up in this too much where, again, everything could mean whatever somebody wants to. I think we need to go in there and say, listen, let's make these things simple. We don't need lawyer speak. We don't need things that everybody can interpret different ways. So I think when I left that non-answered, I wasn't sure. But again, if we handle it, or if we deal with it before it goes into legislation, we wouldn't vote for something just because something else was doing.
Do you commit to oppose and vote against any new tax legislation that does not subject all Americans to the same consumption tax rate with no exceptions and no exclusions?
That I didn't quite understand that either. And again, let's clarify that a little bit. Would that be similar to a the flat tax that we're talking about?
It's probably more like value added.
Oh, yeah, and the VAT tax, absolutely. I mean, now we're just going to lay another set of taxes on top of everything else all the way through the chain. And again, being in business, everybody says, well, let's tax the business. You're not really taxing the business. All you're doing is putting more and more and more on the consumer. You're just making the business the enemy because they can say, look, they raised your prices. But I need to stay in business. So again, if my price goes up, I mean, it's got to be passed along. At the end of the day, you know, all the little people that the Democrats are trying to stand up for are the people that get hosed. And a lot of these, again, we can call them fees or fines or, you know, a small claims court goes up $60 or something else. We you know, the people at the bottom that, you know, everybody's supposed to be protecting are the ones that take the hit at the end of the day.
So as a follow-up, how do you tax people fairly?
What I would like to see, you know, again, we could have a national sales tax. I think, you know, a lot of people are talking about that. So it's on consumption rather than on earnings. I would be willing to look at anything. I just, again, being a realist, I don't think we just scrap the tax code and start over. I don't think it'll happen. I think if we have a fair tax, where, again, we figure out what the level of people, you know, living is, you know, again, what's happening is we're setting the bar higher and higher. And once we get to the point where 51% of the people aren't paying taxes, we're in trouble. So, you know, we can have something where, you know, X amount of income, you know, is what you need to live, and above that, you know, we can have our tax rates.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we're all set. Thank
I
you,
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.